All right, my friends, let's get this party started. You are watching Political Point Magazine. Where the right is right and the left, well, the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because political minds want to know. So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. Tonight, my friends, we've got something different lined up for tonight's show. Because as the presidential field has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, tonight we are going to talk about the Presidential Sweepstakes. Yes. Over the weekend, we had some new contenders. That's right. And we will talk about all of that and more when we take it to the phones with you, the viewers, as well, on tonight's episode. Tonight, we talk about... I am your host, William Mitro. Alright, my friends. Well, guess what? Now, we have here the... Like I said, tonight, we are going to talk about the new developments that have come about. Okay, that's right, my friends. Okay, the new developments that have come about as over the weekend, we have the presidential field for 2016 getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, but as for the first one that announced, okay, and I missed his speech, but I got some of the clips from his speech, and I want to talk further on him. Okay, but the very first one to announce over the weekend. Okay. So we are calling this the 2016 Presidential Sweepstakes. All right. So for tonight, all right, and I will talk a lot more on these new contenders that have come up. But for tonight, all right, take a look at this one first. This one first.
Their priorities are profits and power. My priority is you.
All right. Well, that was yeah. Wait. But no. But we have. Yep. Here. Take a look. Oops. Wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Wait. Oh, wait. But anyhow, wait. No. Here it is. Okay. This is the one we're doing. Okay. So, Senator Rick Santorum. Yeah, that's right. Okay, but anyhow, let me get into his little
priorities are profits and power. My priority is you, the American worker. Santorum. I know what it's like to be an underdog. 4 years ago, well, no one gave us much of a chance. But we won 11 states. I am proud to stand here among you and for you, the American workers who have sacrificed so much, to announce that I am running for President of the United States.
And so there it is. Whoa, hold up a second. Oops. Sorry about that, yo. But we had technical difficulties there. But anyhow, it is essential now that we take a look at this one. Okay, former Senator Rick Santorum. Okay, former Senator Rick Santorum is now in the race. All right. Okay. All right. So former Senator Rick Santorum is in the race now, and he is a Gingrich Revolution conservative Republican. Okay. Now, you all remember Newt Gingrich, who brought the GOP party into victory in 1994 in the 1994 midterm elections. All right, and he was the one that drafted the contract with America. Yep, that's right, my friends. The contract with America. You know, I'm still getting feedback on this mic here. Okay. But anyhow, the contract with America was filled with good government ideas and the conservative revolution of the Reagan conservatives. All right, so this brought about the change in how Washington worked. All right, and so on this note, okay, Rick Santorum is one of the Gingrich Republicans, and he also helped craft the policies that worked in the 1990s, like welfare reform and welfare reform. Let's see. There was the balanced budget amendment, that had the line item veto for the president to eliminate all the pork barrel projects. And that's what helped balance the budget. Okay, that's what helped balance the budget, mind you. All right, and mind you, I have brought up this clip before. Okay, I brought up this clip before, and I brought this up before, but you know, like last week on the show, I showed the clip, or last week's show, or it was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I showed the clip. Okay, I showed the clip of Senator Rick Santorum, who discovered after an investigation on it that we did find the chemical weapons of mass destruction that President Bush was talking about. Okay, that Saddam used on his own people. Yep. And and I'm going to show you this clip again. Okay, this is in the sweepstakes here. All right. Now, but anyhow, that's why I'm getting feedback there. All right, but anyhow, let's get into that little clip here. All right, of Senator Rick Santorum. Okay, back in 2006, the 2006 midterm elections. Okay, and this was the press conference that was supposed to bring the GOP over the top and help them maintain control of Congress. Okay, but
folks who are here and I are here today to say that we have found weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, chemical weapons. It's a document that was developed by our intelligence community, which for the last 2.5 months, I have been pursuing, and thanks to the help of the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, was ultimately, he was able to get it in his hands, and I was able to look for and look at.
These weapons have been discovered. More weapons exist. And they state that Iraq was not a WMD-free zone, that there are continuing threats from the materials that are or may still be in Iraq.
And so you see, my friends, okay, that was the press conference in which Senator Rick Santorum revealed that they did find the weapons of mass destruction that Bush was talking about. That, you know, there was no intelligence failure. Okay, and so I am sending this out, and I sent that out to some candidates. Okay, that got the gotcha questions and stuff. But Senator Rick Santorum throws his hat in the ring, and rightfully so. But can he do it? All right, now last time, okay, he did run before. He did run for president before. This will be his second time. All right, this will be his second time running, and he's hoping that he could get the nomination on his second time around. Okay, because both Romney and McCain got the nomination the second time around. All right, and now, so it's particularly interesting how the GOP field now has expanded. All right, but now moving on now in the presidential sweepstakes. Okay, so this is the GOP senator, former senator from Pennsylvania. Okay, but by the way, when he ran the last time, I think he lost Pennsylvania, but he did win Iowa. All right, he did win Iowa. All right, but anyhow, moving on now. All right, with Senator Rick Santorum, here. All right, moving on now. Okay, we get into former governor of New York, George Pataki. Yes, it happened. New York did elect a Republican governor. It happened. All right, but here we go. This is former Governor George Pataki.
Thank you for 41 years standing at my side and helping us have one of the greatest families, and a family that I am just so proud of. Thank you all for being here. God bless you. You're the reason that I am here this morning, to help your futures be better futures. As I look around this room, I see so many friends from Peekskill in New York State, from Texas and Illinois, and of course from across New Hampshire. Thank you all for being here. Many of you helped me get elected as governor of New York 3 times, and you're here again. Thank you for your loyalty. Y también a todos mis amigos que están con nosotros hoy, gracias por su apoyo. Gracias siempre. Gracias, amigas, siempre por la gente. We're here in Exeter, New Hampshire, birthplace of the Republican Party, Abraham Lincoln's party, who saved the Union and who brought the promise of freedom to all Americans. Teddy Roosevelt's party, who fought for the square deal so that the rich and powerful couldn't limit the freedom of working Americans. And Ronald Reagan's party, who restored Americans' belief in ourselves and in the transcendent value of freedom. The freedom that has given us the greatest country the world has ever known. The freedom that a man named Amos Tuck declared the foundation of that party right here in Exeter, New Hampshire. The same freedom that I fear is at risk today from an ever more powerful, more intrusive government in Washington. It is to preserve and protect that freedom for us that I stand here today. It is to preserve and protect. It is to preserve and protect that freedom for future generations that I speak. It is to preserve and protect that freedom that this morning I announce I am a candidate for the Republican nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have former Governor George Pataki now steps into the race, right? And now he was governor during one of the toughest times for America, 9/11, right? And he helped to restore security to New York. And ironically, this is ultimately fascinating to make this comparison here. But you know, when 9/11 hit, we had a Republican president. All right, we had a Republican governor of New York, and we had a Republican mayor of New York City. So, you know, and ultimately it was Republicans that actually built up our security during that time after 9/11 that kept us safe. All right. So I want to continue on with more of George Pataki here, because what he says is very.
Thank you. Thank you. When people think of New York, they generally think of New York City, and I understand that. But my upbringing was quite different. I grew up in a small farm in a small town in the Hudson Valley called Peekskill, New York. My 4 grandparents were all immigrants who went through Ellis Island. Peekskill's wealth wasn't in its money, but in its people. Black and white, Christian and Jew, both rural and urban at the same time. We weren't wealthy, we weren't well connected, we weren't well known. And yet every one of us growing up in that small town believed the American dream, believed in hard work, and believed in ourselves. We believed, no, we really knew that if we dreamed something, we could do it. If we worked hard, studied hard, had faith, family, and friends encouraging us, nothing could be beyond our reach. We believed in the American dream, and it was real. My father was a mailman. When he went to first grade, he couldn't speak one word of English. No one ignored him or lowered their expectations. Instead, they helped him learn the skills he needed to succeed. My mother had to turn down a scholarship to Cornell because it was the depth of the Depression and she was the only one in the family working. So she took a job as a waitress. By the way, my mother is 99 and at home doing great, and she is watching this live right now on C-SPAN. So, Mom, thank you. They never saw themselves as victims. They were Americans. And though they might not have had every real opportunity for themselves, they knew that their children could accomplish anything. My brother Lou and I worked on our farm as kids. When I was in college, during Christmas and summer vacations, I worked at the Fleischmann's factory with my cousin Bobby. And in the evenings and weekends, we'd come home and work on the farm with our other cousins. For my dad, working 2 jobs was the norm. He'd leave the house 5 in the morning, deliver mail during the day, come home and work on the farm until it was dark. And then if the alarm rang in the middle of the night, he'd answer the bell as captain of our volunteer firefighters. It wasn't always easy for them, but today my brother's an astrophysicist, and I am a candidate for the highest office in our country. I was governor of New York on September 11th. It was a horrible time for us, and I'm sure for all of you as well. The personal loss was devastating. It still is. I saw up close the horrible consequences of too many believing that because radical Islam was thousands of miles away across an ocean, that we were safe in America. Sadly, it wasn't true then, and it's not true now. The most important thing government does is to provide for the security and safety of its citizens. Sadly, Washington is not doing that. I will not forget the lesson of September 11th. I fear too many in Washington already have. To protect us, first we must secure the border. Yes, I'm the proud product of immigrants, but we must know that everyone coming to America is coming here legally, and that everyone coming here is coming not to harm us, but to be a part of a better America. And in the face of an increasingly dangerous world, this is not the time to weaken America's military. It's time to strengthen our military. Not so that we can use it, but so that we don't have to use it. A strong America is a safe America. Ronald Reagan proved that peace through strength is more than a slogan. Peace through strength is a policy that works. Weakness, equivocation, and false promises lead only to chaos, brutality, and war. The world is a better place when America is strong and a champion of liberty and freedom. Allies and friends of America must know that our word is our bond. We will stand with our ally Israel, a democracy on the front lines of terror and barbarism. We will stand with our allies in NATO and the free Baltic states against the resurgent Russia. We will make sure the #1 sponsor of state terror in the world, Iran, never has a nuclear weapon. We will provide whatever aid is necessary to those already fighting ISIS on the ground to stop their barbarism and inhumanity. And yes, if necessary, American forces will be used to actually defeat and destroy ISIS so they can pose no threat to us here. We will not spend $1 trillion or a decade nation building overseas. But I will never forget the lesson of September 11th. We will destroy radical Islam's ability to attack us over there before they have the chance to attack us here. Our allies must trust us. Our enemies must fear us, and they will. We will defend our freedom, but we will not be the world's policemen. Libby and I have 2 sons, both of whom served overseas. Teddy as a Marine lieutenant deployed to Iraq for a year. Owen as a lieutenant in the 10th Mountain Division returning from Afghanistan just this past September. Please, we're proud of them. We're proud of every single person here who has put on the uniform to protect our freedom. To all our veterans, raise your hands. We salute you. God bless you. Libby and I know what it's like to lie awake dreading a call in the middle of the night when your child is in harm's way overseas. I do not want one parent, one husband, one wife, one child or loved one to experience that fear unless it's absolutely necessary. But we will do whatever is required to protect the American people. Well, the challenges facing America today are real. I've no doubt we will rise above them. Think of what this great country has overcome. Washington at Valley Forge, Lincoln trying to hold together a nation divided, Roosevelt facing both the Great Depression and Nazi Germany. Yes, the challenges of a large and oppressive government in Washington are real, but this is still America. The power of freedom is real, and compared to those challenges we've overcome in the past, these seem like trivial things. I have no doubt we will rise above these as well. Today, those in the other party, instead of offering ideas, seek to divide. When you have no solutions, instead you offer fear. They say we are anti-immigrant. We, the proud children and grandchildren and descendants of immigrants, we know that immigration has and will continue to enhance the greatness of this country. Let's send that party a clear message. Unlike them, we don't believe that they come to this country so they can get a government handout. We know immigrants come to work, to strive, to build a better life for their families, and we welcome all who come here legally. They say we are against the middle class. This, too, is nonsense. Everyone here understands it's the men and women who go to work, pay the bills, and follow the rules that are the backbone of this country. We are the party of the middle class. Unless by middle class they mean someone who left the White House dead broke and 10 years later had $100 million. Unless by middle class they mean someone who charges a poor country $500,000 for a half-hour speech. That's their candidate. She speaks for the middle class. They are the party of privilege. We are the party of the middle class. They are the party of the past. We must be the party of the future. I know that with the policies we believe in, we can change the world. Let the next decade be the decade when the American worker and innovators, the best workforce in the world, accomplish things we can only dream of. Let the next decade be the decade when Americans finally cure cancer and end for all time the scourge of Alzheimer's. Let the next decade be the decade when American energy powers the world with our own clean, unlimited resources. Let the next decade be the decade when Americans travel from city to city in trains faster than planes, and cars that drive themselves and over paths we have yet to imagine. Let the next decade be the decade where Americans can have boundless economic growth while enhancing and preserving the natural environment. Let the next decade be the decade when America proves to the world, you ain't seen nothing yet. While I saw the horrors of September 11th firsthand, in the days, weeks, and months that followed, I also saw the strength of America on display. For those months, we were not Republicans, Democrats, black or white, young or old. We were Americans. We had been attacked, and we were going to stand together to show the world that we were unbowed, unafraid, and would come back stronger than ever. I completely reject the idea that we can only unite in adversity. We're so much better than that. I know we have true greatness within us because I have seen that greatness countless times. I have seen what Americans can do when we understand we share a common dream, a common future, a common destiny. I know that working together with the support of a government dedicated to restoring freedom rather than restraining it, we will once again astonish the world with what we can accomplish.
Governor Pataki governed a state that was the highest tax state when he became governor, but he lowered taxes and created jobs in New York. He had the better policies. All right, but now moving on. Now I need to get into the next one here. Okay. The next one here, which just today he announced. Okay. This is a senator of South Carolina, North Carolina. Yeah. South Carolina, Senator Lindsey Graham. All right. Yep. Lindsey Graham. Okay, so take a look at this. Here it is.
I'm Lindsey Graham, and I'm running for President of the United States. Thank you. I hope, yeah, okay, I'll turn back there. I hope they hear that all over the world, that I'm running for President of the United States. It's because of you that I can make that statement. Adult life is part of a team committed to defending America.
Now, one thing I want to stress with Lindsey Graham's speech here. Okay. Lindsey Graham was all mostly about national security and national defense. All right. Strong defense and peace through strength, like Ronald Reagan. All right.
Making sure that we're safe. Politicians focus on elections. The military focuses on the mission. If given the privilege to serve as your president, I'll focus on the mission, to defend America, to protect our way of life, and to leave the next generation a stronger, safer, better nation than we inherited. That will not be easy. It never has. There are dangers that must be faced, and as usual, the best of us will have to face the worst of them. The best of us are the 1% of Americans who are the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. I cannot promise, as Commander-in-Chief, that their dangers that they confront will be less. The risks they run, the sacrifices they make, will be fewer or easier. But I can assure them they will have the leadership to defeat our enemies. I can promise them their sacrifices won't be wasted. And they won't fight with their hands tied behind their backs. We will end this conflict on our terms. We will win. Those who believe we can disengage from the world at large and be safe by leading from behind, vote for someone else. I am not your man. Those who believe the best way to defend ourselves is to lead the world, to make history, rather than be overwhelmed by it, I ask for your support. Join me if you want to tackle the problems at home that have been kicked down the road because they're too hard to fix or too easy to demagogue. Washington's failure to do the hard but right thing has put Social Security and Medicare in serious jeopardy. Anybody on Social Security and Medicare? Anybody want to be on Social Security and Medicare one day? All of us. As my generation retires, both programs are on track to go bust. We're living longer, and fewer workers are supporting more retirees. That's unsustainable. Everybody knows it, but not everybody will admit it. We have to fix entitlement programs to make sure people who need the benefits the most receive them. That's going to require determined presidential leadership. I know from personal experience how important these programs are to the lives of millions of Americans. As Darlene mentioned, we lost our parents when I was a young man and she was in middle school. We depended on Social Security benefits to survive. I've been fortunate. I've done better than I ever dreamed. If I and others like me have to take a little bit less and pay a little more to help those who need it most, so be it. And younger people, you may just have to work a little bit longer. As president, I'll gladly do what it takes to save a program that once saved my family. Now, to those of you who yearn for a healthy and safe environment, I will join your cause. To those who seek energy independence, I will be your champion. I am tired of sending hundreds of billions of dollars a year overseas to buy oil from people who hate us. We must have energy independence. And I believe in the process it's possible to produce a safe, clean environment and create new well-paying jobs for Americans of all generations. To my fellow Republicans, I'll be a champion for limited and effective government and a strong national defense. I'll be a voice for social conservative values without apology or animosity. I love my party. I am committed to see it grow and prosper. To my friends in the other party, on the big things we share a common fate. I'll work with you to strengthen the country we both love. Our differences are real, and we'll debate them. But you're not my enemy. You're my fellow countrymen. My enemies are those who despise our shared values, the enemies of enlightenment, the culture of death that seeks to destroy the dignity of life. We'll fight them together with our partners and we'll win. To Americans who trust neither party, I will seek the political common ground our nation so desperately needs to find. That's what I've done before. Don't take my word for it. Examine my record. I got the scars to prove it. I intend to be a president not of a single party, but of a nation. I want to do more than make big government smaller. I want to help make a great nation greater. I've traveled the world and had experiences and opportunities I never dreamed of. I've been lucky so much of my life, but never luckier than in the people and place I come from. Those of you who've known me for a long time know I've had some ups and downs. As a young man, I lost my parents, struggled financially and emotionally, and I would not have made it through those times without you. And the example my parents set for me. There are a lot of so-called self-made people in this world. I am not one of them. My family, my friends, neighbors, and my faith picked me up when I was down, believed in me when I had doubts. You made me the man I am today. I'm a man with many debts to my family, my friends, to you, to South Carolina, to the country. I'm running for president to repay those debts. And the fight is hard for you as you fought for me. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, that's the only promise I can make. And it's the only pledge I will sign. The only one that matters. If you make me president, I'll fight each day harder than I fought the day before to keep this country safe, prosperous, and as good as the people who made it great. I humbly ask for your support and your vote. I will work every day to make you proud. God bless.
And that's Lindsey Graham, Senator from South Carolina. And now, which brings me to the last one who announced before Lindsey Graham the debut on a Sunday. All right, but which is okay. Well, Lindsey Graham, Republican senator from South Carolina. Okay, so that's 3 Republicans in one weekend that have announced. Now there is a Democrat that announced. All right, and that is former mayor of Baltimore and former governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley.
Dream we share, its powerful history, its current condition, and its urgent need of rebuilding. Our nation was founded on 2 self-evident truths: that all of us are created equal, and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain rights to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And with these words, the American dream began. No fine print, no expiration date. All of us are included, women and men, black people and white people, Native Americans, Irish Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim Americans, young and old, rich and poor, workers and business owners, gay, lesbian, and transgender, and straight Americans. All of us are needed. For in our idea of country, there is no such thing as a spare American. There is, however, a growing gap of injustice in our country today. It is the gap between the strong, just nation our children need for us to be and the nation we are in danger of becoming. For today, in America, 70% of us are earning the same or less than we were 12 years ago. And this is the first time that that has happened this side of World War II. Today in America...
Now, Did I just hear him say that right? That is the first time that this has happened since World War II? Gosh! You know what? I guess it's true what they say. But according to Martin O'Malley, Obama is the worst president since World War II. Confirming what the Quinnipiac University poll has stated. Nice.
Family-owned businesses and are struggling to compete with ever larger concentrations of corporate power. 50 years ago, the nation's largest employer was GM, and the average GM employee could send his kid to college on 2 weeks' wages. Today in America, with dreams of college and a decent paying job and a secure retirement slipping beyond the reach of so very many, the American dream seems for so many of us to be hanging by a thread. And yet, for America, there is always a yet. And the final thread that holds us just might be the strongest. It is the thread of generosity, compassion, and love that brings us together as one American people. For over 200 years, we have been the architects of our own future. And now we must build anew. My father and mother, Tom and Barbara O'Malley, were born to the Great Depression, and they grew up to be part of that great generation of Americans that won the Second World War. My dad flew 33 missions over Japan in a B-24 Liberator and went on to college only because of the GI. And my mom herself flew in the Civil Air Patrol at the age of 17. They raised their children, the 6 of us. They raised to a secure middle-class future because of the sacrifices and the better choices of their generation. But they would never accept the notion that somehow theirs was the greatest generation, for they believed and they taught us that every generation of Americans has the ability and the sacred responsibility to make themselves great for their country. We led our people forward through a devastating recession, and we took greater care to protect the land, the air, and the waters of our Chesapeake Bay. And we passed the DREAM Act, and we passed marriage equality. Together, we raised the minimum wage, and we maintained the highest median income of any state in the nation. We achieved top rankings in innovation, entrepreneurship, and women and minority business ownership and participation. And yes, it took new leadership, it took new perspectives, and it took new approaches, but together, we believed in the American dream. We took action to make it real, and that is exactly what our nation needs to do today. You see, our economy isn't money. Our economy is people. All of our people. We measure success by the growing prosperity and security of our people, all of our people. A stronger middle class is not the consequence of economic growth. A stronger middle class is the cause of economic growth. And together as one people, we must build an American economy that works again for all of us. This means good jobs and wage policies wage policies that allow families to earn more as they work harder and harder. And that means a higher minimum wage. That means overtime pay for overtime work. And that means making it easier rather than harder for workers to organize and bargain collectively for better wages.
Yeah, somebody's got to tell Martin O'Malley that in order to raise the minimum wage, you got to lower the taxes, too. Because while O'Malley was governor of Maryland, the taxes went through the roof, and people were finding it harder. In fact, a lot of people say, Martin who? Oh yeah, that's right. This is the guy that led to the disastrous policies that and the massive destruction of the chaos in Baltimore. As a matter of fact, a lot of people that are affected by the chaos in Baltimore blame Martin O'Malley and the current Democrats that are in charge now. That's just, he's going to have an uphill battle to climb for the Democratic nomination of his party because of not only Hillary but also the Baltimore chaos. Okay, I'm gonna take this call, and that will have to be the last call. Hello, you're on the air. What's on your political mind?
Well, great show tonight. You showed some very impressive things coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You're right about O'Malley and the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they should deplete the Social Security. I think they should cut back on people they medicate and charge the Medicaid and Medicaid insurance. They've overused their power as doctors in charging the insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, taxpayers paid for downtown Iraq for new super sniper rifles and mortar round launching self-rockets that'll level a block in 30 seconds. Nobody gets that back as a taxpayer in return.
Mm-hmm.
So the taxes they're collecting, they're disposing of overseas. And before America stepped foot in Iraq, they had hardly any places had running water. They had no lights. They had no, street lights, road highways. They hired everybody out of the United States of America as contractors to put in NICEAG, street lights. What are they building over there? And is the American government getting paid in return? Is any of American people, other than investors, making a return on their pay for being in Iraq to begin with? Number two, spending the taxpayer money on death and destruction devices, handing them out like it's candy. Before the war, Saddam bought U.S. military equipment and then turned against us and didn't pay for it. So there's billions of dollars of the U.S. tax dollars to make the country go broke again. Even if we go overseas, we should pull back to our border lines and protect everything around us and other countries as well and work together.
Mm-hmm.
We do have to have some form of immigration reform with the existing people in other countries as well, so you get registered in, and it shouldn't be just to have them in this country to work for less than minimum wage on farms.
All right, you got 30 seconds, my friend.
I think they're kind of counterdictive on not giving the American United States citizens the farm work, and it's so bad that they want to hire outcasts of immigrants because they don't want to pay that much.
I gotta get past this.
I'll
last
get past
words for
this.
the night, my friend.
Another thing is
Last
if we
words
go
for
to
the night.
war again, it's going to deplete the country even further. So how do you pay for a war without taxes?
Look. We don't need to raise the taxes, but that's the last words for the night. And we thank you for your call. And I hope you appreciate everything on the show. But anyways, that's the show for tonight, my friends. I have no time for the actual last words for the night. So, but